13 heals. You can't train your Pokemon. And the challenges are just unfair. This is the story of how I conquered the Cradle Isles viral infection, defeated the champion, and battled Missing No. This game was being called the Dark Souls of Pokemon all over Poke Harbor and Reddit, and I wanted to give it a shot. It had a list of unique features that made the game quite difficult, and even came with a warning label. The Dark Souls of Pokemon game, Pokemon Salt and Shadow, starts now. You start in an underwater cavern. I quickly head up to the northwest, where there are 3 Pokeballs. We have the Bird of Ill Omens, the Emblem of Treachery, and the Whimpering Fairy. I choose the Whimpering Fairy, getting myself a level 5 Mimikyu. Very long. The world beyond is dying. There may not be enough time left to save it. Its guardians now stand in stasis, defending the status quo. This will not be a gentle experience. The challenges ahead are unfair. Some may not even be possible. You will have little guidance and many paths. Begin your journey. Let's see. If there's a way, we'll find it. This is where I choose. If there's a way, we will find it. This also is the introduction of Perish Mode, which is basically the hardest difficulty possible. Remember, I asked for this. We start out at the Cradling Lighthouse, a beacon of light on this island. It's storming all around, the rough seas behind us, and there's no turning around now. I find a potion, and we head on inside. And here there's an Eevee, and I obtain it, and it joins my team. I also pick up some Pokeballs. These are going to be useful, because we're going to have to catch a lot of Pokemon. All the books in here are talking about doom of a virus. The light from outside is getting minimalized every minute. And I talked to this guy, but he's not nice. He's the dark, false professor. Luckily, though, even though we are down in levels, we're able to defeat the false professor, who says worthless scrap of salt and shadow. He unblocks the door and we continue our way through. This thing needs a key card, so we'll have to come back for this. And there's a Pidgeot here that's ready to fly us onto the island. Here at the Ranger's Nest is the center point of the island where we're going to start. It's very dark here, and we gained the Coward's Shoes. You can now run faster by holding the special button, Default Z, or set to run in the options. Once we got the Coward Shoes, we're going to pick up some of these items around here. We're going to get an upgraded map right off the bat. This will show us where all these statues are. In front of this statue is a little Cubone, and I couldn't help but feel bad for it. It deserves a family, right? So we're going to pick it up, and it is going to join our team. Then I talked to some rocks, get some more items. Here is the Ranger's Refuge. This is going to be our base point for the most of the run. I check out the PC, and it turns out these PCs are all connected. They're kind of living. We grab a pearl here, and I read some more things, like this, that says that books and other notes may have lies. I go in what I refer to as the dojo here, and you can see that there's Pokeballs on each side. If we catch enough Pokemon, we get the Pokeballs and the items that they store. Here's the first wild encounter of the run. It's a level 5 Rattata. Of course, I catch that, and I catch a Bulbasaur too. And then it's time for the first actual challenge trainer of the run. But luckily, this jogger was no match for us. We still had a little bit of a level advantage. This next trainer, not too bad either, and we take them out. It is, they were guarding the statue and an Ashen Shard. We pick that up and talk to a pot for a potion. And then it's on to another double battle. Luckily, we've still got a little bit of a level advantage and not a bad type advantage. Unfortunately, we were losing some Pokemon, so we had to catch some new ones. Next up, we take out this double battle. It was quite the challenge, but we managed to get through it and get TM40 for Swift. Over here, I decided to try to take on this guy, but he was way too strong. Decided to try that one later. We then talked to this guy, who's going to be known as the Angler. And he tells us a very sweet story of him fishing and having a picnic with his daughter. As a reward for listening to his tale, he gives us a fishing rod, and I very quickly start fishing and catch some new Pokemon that are a little bit stronger. Did I mention that Pokemon do not gain experience in this run? Yeah, they don't. So the only way to get stronger Pokemon is to catch stronger Pokemon. We take on a few more battles and get TM48 Rock Tomb. Catch a Tangela, but this lady, way too strong, so we're going to save that one for later. We go back to the dojo and talk to this lady who tells us about the 4 beacons, the 4 trainers of strength that have been looking over this region before the virus came. Here we have Baton Pass. We grab some more items that are scattered around, and then I head back down here and talk to this peculiar fellow in the center of the island. We trade in some Ashen Shards for a cracked flute. We enter the Dragon Cave. The remnants of the Dragon Master's rage is here, the cinders of his rage, and it's none other than TM-143 Overheat. They ask the champion to make a sacrifice. He sacrificed the world instead. We're getting some lore drops here, and I decided to take on this guy, but holy moly, 2 Gyarados, no way. So we're coming back to that one later. Down here to the south, there's a guy selling things, which is going to be useful. And this sign says that fire types are way too strong and off limits. So I pick up the Fire Punch TM, and then we're going to go trade in our Chikorita and a Clefairy for a Celebi. Our first legendary of the run, Celebi, is pretty good. Now that I've got some Pupatars, I go back to that guy in the woods that's got the strong bugs, and we're strong enough now. So we got a Shred of Hope and some TMs for our efforts. I use the Shred of Hope to level up our Celebi to level 15. This is the only way to really level up Pokemon so far in the run. Down here is Magical Leaf, and then we head back to the dojo to pick up another Shred of Hope. Then we grab a few more potions and continue into a path called the Sorrows Path. The Pokemon here are like level 8 to 11, which isn't too bad. We grab an ability capsule and catch some of the Pokemon in this area like a Golem and an Ekans. Another challenge out of the way, and she's guarding a Super Potion. There's TM41 for Helping Hand up here. We grab that and do another challenge, but luckily we still have some level advantages, at least on our Celebi. We head inside this little building where it looks like something bad has happened. There's some more Pokeballs on the ground, an Evo Scope, some safety goggles, and in here is TM for Self-Destruct. I really don't like what this insinuates. Well, now that we got this part out of the way, let me catch a few more Pokemon. And we head back to the south where we'll try to unlock a few more areas. We take on another trainer and grab Volt Switch. Do you hate walking and love murder? Become a Guardian Trainer today. Job responsibilities: stand still, stare ahead, kill on sight. Yeah, I'm not really interested in that, but we sure got a lot of Guardian Trainers to take on, like Beauty Pride here with her Clefable and her Clefairy. Luckily, we still got a level advantage and some decent type advantages, so we take her out. There's a hiker here guarding a Pokeball, and heck, I really want that Pokeball. So we take him on, and this guy, basically all of his Pokemon have self-destruct. So it is a battle with explosions and self-destructs everywhere. And it hurts, and a bunch of my Pokemon faint because of it. Luckily, I have some ghost types here at the end that are able to survive. And then we grab a very strong Fortress, level 20, which is going to be a staple for the next little bit. Down here in this cave, invalid map ID. This is obviously a very purposeful thing, by the way. This is not actually an invalid map ID. PC relocation project, utter failure. Uprooting PC from location, not advised. Reality compression, unstable. Do not remove PCs from the wild. Yeah, so some more lore drops here. These PCs, you better not mess with them. We grab an ability patch, though, and this brings us out in this part of the Dragon's Den. We pick up some Ultra Balls and another Ashen Shard. Another Shred of Hope is hiding behind this rock, and we even got an energy powder here. This sign says that fishing is strictly prohibited by order of the champion. Really? Really? I see. And then I start fishing. We catch some more strong Pokemon, like this Krabby, some Chinchous, and then we got another Guardian Trainer to take on. Luckily, by this point, we've got some level, 15s to 20s, so we got a shot against a lot of these trainers. But this guy is a little too strong for me with a Politoed and a Poliwrath, so we're going to come back and take him on later. With the Cowerchoos, we can run from trainers in this challenge, and if you couldn't, I don't know if this would be possible. This one here was really tough because of the level balance, but with just a Fortress, we managed to do it. This gives us a Shred of Hope level 10. We get a Thick Club for that Cubone we got earlier, and we got some Ethers. I went back and organized a new team, and then we come back to challenge this guy. The Starved Scientist is going to be a challenge with the Pokemon that we've got because, well, we're on like our third string team at this point. Luckily, we're able to take him out, and he is guarding this little contraption that is basically going to force spawn us Mareep over and over again, the Lightning Shepherd. So this is at least a consistent way to get Mareep. Then we've got a pile of salt here, where the shadow has been abandoned. These are kind of like puzzles in the game. I give up on this puzzle for right now, but we'll come back to it later. Inside the house we get a memory of flight, which is going to allow me to fly, and then let's go back to that puzzle and give it another shot. This time I get it, and we get a memory of triumph, which are basically revives. Another Guardian Trainer here, and you can see the level curve is getting more and more intense. Luckily, we're able to take her out, and it gives us access to a Great Ball, some more grass here, and then this sign says not to talk to rocks. So I talk to this rock and get Ice Punch, which is going to be pretty useful. By this point, most of my Pokemon have fainted, and I'm tired of catching new ones, so we're going to take a sleep, which means we are 12 more days into destruction. Yes, we only have 13 days, 13 heals to beat the game. We take on another Guardian Trainer and get them out of the way, which gives us access to some Great Balls. I find a few more cool wild Pokemon, like some Stunkies and some Alolan Grimers. We take on this Guardian Trainer, and we get access to this fertilizer building. Down here is a memorial where it says, do not to disturb the liquid. So what did I do? Immediately disturb the liquid. And that made that guy disappear, which really upset me. This guy is really, really strong. He's got level 20s, so we're going to come back. This lady also is level 20s, but I think we got a good shot. And yep, we took her out, and we get a TM for our efforts. Down here is Poison Jab, and here we get access to a Wheezing for that Poison Jab. After I switched my team around, we came back to this guy here, and we were able to defeat Gentleman Visitor. I went ahead and caught a few more of the liquids, and then we're going to continue on this direction. In this rock is a Shred of Hope. By this point in the run, I wanted some fire types, and I knew that they were off limits, but there was a guy down here guarding this door that I thought had fire types. And sure enough, once we take him out and we pick up a Dusk Stone, we're going to head into the Molten Sorrow. And then once we're inside, we're going to pick up Trick Room and also catch a bunch of the fire type Pokemon that are in here, like Torkoal, Charmander. Yeah, bunch of really cool Pokemon. Also note that there's another statue here. Whenever we see a statue, that means we can grab some Pokemon and exchange them or sacrifice them for a stronger one. The PCs are always evolving. They're living in this game, so that's something important to note. We go back to the dojo, and we've got 25 different species of Pokemon now, so I'm going to exchange that for a Master Ball. We head into the Deep Woods Wind, a deeper part of the woods with some stronger Pokemon and stronger opponents. Luckily by now, we've got some 15 to 20 level Pokemon, so this guy isn't too bad. We defeat that Rocket Grunt, which gives us access to this deeper area. I have come to a grim epiphany. Pokemon are plentiful, they can be easily replaced. If I must sacrifice 3 or 4 Pokemon to defeat a single trainer, I can always catch more. This allows me to journey further, finding even higher level replacements. Unfortunately, that is how this game has got to go. Down here, this rock has got another Shred of Hope, and we've got 2 little girls here that want to battle. Luckily, they only have level 13s and 14s, so without too much trouble, we're able to take them out, and they were guarding 1,000 big ones. Down here, we got another double battle. Even though they have some level 15 Pokemon, we're, again, working with Weezing and Fortress here, which are super great, and they're going to carry us for a little bit. I managed to find a Heracross, which is one of my favorite Pokemon. I talked to this tree, which tells me there's a creaking sound in the distance. That probably is important for later. Then down here, we're at the final few trainers for the Deep Woods Wind. This sign tells us to turn around, but you know we ain't doing that. So we take on this trainer here who has some level 14 rock types, and man, are they defensive and strong. But with enough time, we're able to take them out. There's another tree over here, but first, I'm going to get jumped by this guy. Legitimately, he is totally hidden, and it was a tough battle. We're losing a few Pokemon every time we battle, but luckily we were able to take him out. And we pick up a leaf stone and touch the lonely bark. It reminds us of someone, and we hear another creaking sound in the distance. That'll be important later. We pick up a Miracle Seed, and then keep on heading south. And this guy, he's got some philosophical things to say. And he's got some strong Pokemon. A Venusaur and a Meganium. But luckily our typing isn't too bad for this. And we're going to take them all out, even though it's going to take us a little bit of grinding. And he was guarding a Shred of Hope level 20, which means we can level up one of our Pokemon to level 20. South of this, we find some Great Balls, and it gives us some access to some new areas. But let's finish up the Deep Woods Wind. I didn't go over here to the east, where we're going to find an Ekans and a Lickitung trainer, which isn't going to be too difficult. And there's even a little building here. Looks like a little honey farm of some sort. It's hiding some Great Balls, and if we go inside, you'll see that it is an abandoned house. There's a Helix fossil back here on the table. This statue will give us our PP back. And there's actually a facade, a fake wall. If we go through the wall, we have a choice to be made. we can only take one of these powerful items. The first one, a choice spec. The second one, a choice scarf. You make a bad choice? Make a bad choice. Oh, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Yeah, so naturally I have to make the bad choice. But when we choose that, an opening is going to show up. It's going to take us to this little spot here where it seems what seems to be a bad choice may lead somewhere you'd never get to go otherwise. We're going to grab a weakness policy. And if we talk to the rock, we're even going to get an extra shred of hope level 20. This will make our game a little bit easier. The house also has some empty Pokeballs, so we're going to grab those. We're going to use a shred of hope on our Heracross here, and there's another tree down here for us to talk to. We hear a creaking sound in the distance once again. Now it's time to head south to the Deep Woods Brushland. In this area, we're able to find some stronger Pokemon, like right off the bat, this level 24 Butterfree. Luckily, we're going to catch this, and it has Sleep Powder, which is going to allow us to catch a lot of other Pokemon pretty easily, like a Kirlia. And another Butterfree. And even a Monferno, which we need for that statue. I go back up here to talk to this rock because, well, I thought I was just going to rock break it with Heracross. But turns out this is an encounter rock with a shiny Graveler. I don't think it had self-destruct or explosion, but we eventually managed to catch this thing. And we're going to need it later for another statue trade. This bush was hiding some antidotes. And then I exchanged my Ashen Shards with this guy here for an obsidian urn. This will help us catch some more Pokemon. I eventually find a Growlithe, which is another Pokemon that we needed for the statue. So if we trade in Growlithe, Cyndaquil, and Monferno, we get a level 26 Entei. And I tell you what, man, did this thing hit hard at this point in the game. Let's head back down here to the south to the Boiling Sands and try to progress a little bit further. Now with some level 20s Pokemon, we're going to take on this lady here. She does have some pretty strong Pokemon, especially in the rain, but we are able to defeat this beauty and head on and grab a Sunny Day TM, which is going to come in handy. I also catch a few more Pokemon here, including a Crustle. We pick up Mega Punch the TM. Another Ether. I want to keep progressing, but this guy, he's just too dang strong, man. That level 36 Talonflame is too much for me, so we're going to have to come back at a later point and take him on. This man also, I really wanted to take him on so that we could progress to a new area. But after basically getting one shot by a Krogunk, I decided to lick my wounds and come back on another day. Over here we got an X Special. And then there's a Fisherman. I can see my angler friend, and that's who I want to talk to. So we quickly make work of this Fisherman here without really taking too much of a loss. And then it's time to talk to my friend, the Angler. He was guarding an ability capsule, which is going to be pretty useful too. He tells us a little bit about the times that he was fishing here with the tenacity of the Staryu, how they're able to regenerate, and how he actually caught one of his best Pokemon, a Slowpoke named Strawberry, from a place very much like this. He gives us some lure balls, and then I do a little bit more fishing, catching a Slowking and a Staryu before taking out this last Fisherman down here in the Boiling Sands. Luckily, we have some strong Pokemon at this point in the late 20s, or like mid-20s, so it wasn't too bad. We got enough Pokemon now, so we head back to the dojo and pick up an Assault Vest. I'm going to stock up on some items, and then we head back down here to take on this trainer. I like calling this guy the Frog Trainer with the Poliwrath and the Politoed. Luckily now, with the Celebi and a little bit of a type advantage, we're going to be able to take out this guy and even battle his friend who put a hat on a duck. Yes, it's Ludicolo. This was a close match, but we were able to strategize and take him out without too much of a casualty. He was guarding TM-126 Endure, might come in handy. Also guarding behind this rock, TM-146 Muddy Water. These books talk a little bit about the lore of the world, which is very fun. And then there's another challenge for us to take on, the Memory of Drowning. This one, luckily, is one of the easier ones in the game. It gives us some strong Pokemon. We just got to play the strategy right, and you win the challenge. It bloomed and gave us another Memory of Triumph, another revive. I head back up above the refuge area, where there is the Journey's End area. And I battled this Guardian that was blocking the way. He had 2 level 23s, so up until now it's been pretty tough. But now we're able to take him out. And there's 4 beacons here. This one is a lesson to those who stand tall and will be cut down, the Queen of Orchids. This one is talking about the Will Breaker, the champion, the strongest in the land. Then we pick up some items around here, and over here to the left, when there's a item here, when filled with sickening chill of doubt. Remember, nothing is impossible, and we get TM58 for assurance. There's also a door here, and it looks like there's something on it that looks like a hive of some sort. Yep, this will be important later. Then we go to the next beacon, the Shepherd Beacon. And lastly, we go to the beacon of the Dragon Master. These are the 4 bosses that we'll have to take on. Also, there's a policeman here selling the Pokemon of people that have failed or died. Ugh, we'll have to come back to that. There's also a mysterious Giovanni-like figure here who wants to bet $1,000 in a card game. He gives me some cards, but unfortunately, I don't understand the game quite yet. I lose my $1,000 and decide I'll come back. Over here, there's some more items like an energy powder, and I check out this challenge. But man, this memory of defeat is quite the challenge. All the Pokemon are pretty strong. Ours are under-leveled, so we're going to come back to that one. In one of the houses we visited before, there was a guy now that wanted to play cards. Also, with Rock Smash, now we can get access to new items, like the Shred of Hope right here. Now that we got some level 20s up to level 30 Pokemon, I'm able to take on this guy here, who's guarding a full restore. Over here, I thought this was a challenge, but it's actually just a plant. So we grab a big root and head on to our next challenge. This guy here that's asking if plants feel our sadness. Luckily, he wasn't too difficult of a challenge either. He only had a Gloom and a Rattata, and after taking him out, we got the TM for Thunder Punch. Just one more challenger blocking our way, so let's take them on. They had 2 or 3 level 20 Pokemon, or in the 20s, so after a little bit of work with Entei and Fortress, we were able to take them out. And we also got a Silk Scarf and these random flowers here. You got to interact with everything in this game. You never know where you're going to find something. This is the last Guardian Trainer before Sky Spear Climb. So I'm not ready to take him on quite yet. We pick up another Ashen Shard, and then up here in this rest house is another person that wants to battle. Luckily, she only bets $70, but still, she kicks my butt over and over again. Down here in the deep woods, remember we touched all those trees? Well, it opened up a path. And sure enough, it looks like we can't access these items, but we can. It was TM138 trick. Even that sign said we couldn't. It was a trick. Don't listen to the signs in this game. And then in here is the Dreamer's Tomb. See what we've got here. Music notes are etched into the stone. A young girl walking through the forest. Her hair was sunset red. She found a quiet clearing and made of it her bed. The monsters found the child, but never did they feast. The dreamer's sleeping smile made guards of every beast. One day a dashing champion came across her den. He left her sleeping deeper. She'd never dream again. This is also giving us a little lore that the champion had killed a dreamer. And maybe the dreamer was helping save the world. It's hard to really know. We grab a Sea Incense and a Sea Mother's Tear. And we also write down the statue location for this level 40 Pokemon. Down here we got foul play because there was some foul play afoot. And then we go back to clean up and catch up some areas here. There's a guy back here now that wants to card battle. But I'm ready to trade in those Ashen Shards for a Rusty Badge, which is going to give us a little bit more bonus damage on all of our Pokemon. Down here is a poor swimmer stuck in the sand, the boiling sands. And after we defeat her, she gives us $1,000 and another Ashen Shard. Well, I'm not ready to take on the champion yet, obviously. There are stronger champions or stronger trainers than I. But I walked in here. Only the worthy is set to challenge the champion. And no, I am not worthy. I am a meandering child. And try not to stain the tower with my embarrassment. Goodness gracious, dude. Okay, so yeah, I just enter the tower and try not to be an embarrassment. I also find this code when I go back to the deep woods. We're gonna need that for later. Inside of this house is a guy freaking out, man. And it's because there's not enough time. He can tell the world is ending. He hasn't been taken over by the virus yet. So he gives us an X speed 6. And there's even a TM for Facade behind this poster. Well, I head back out with my hair across using Rock Smash. And then we continue on. We enter the Glade of the Moon, but I don't have a cut yet. So we're going to check out that later. Down here, we pick up a few more items, including a scope lens. A few more potions. And there's a few more Guardian Trainers that we gotta face. She says stop and smell the flowers, but her flower types were not doing very nice things. Luckily, we were able to take them out, and she was guarding Solar Beam. Another Guardian Trainer was standing in our way, blocking the next area. He has a Ninetales and a Togetic. Luckily again, we had decent typing, especially with Rillaboom, Entei, and Fortress. And we got that shred of hope that he was guarding. And also, there's a glitch here on the map. It says here that the path is simultaneously the same as 14 across and 8 across. It was a fold in reality. I go back and pick up a key item to forget Rock Smash if you didn't catch a Heracross. And then we take on this little Guardian Trainer too, who was guarding TM54 Rock Smash. There's just a few more Guardians here in this deep woods, including this guy with a Milotic and a Lantern and a Slow King, but we take that Fisherman out and pick up some Hyper Potions. There's just $3,000 laying on the ground here, so we grab that. And then there's a guy here with some Steel types, guarding the Steel Executioner statue. This was tough because we didn't have great typing for Pokemon like Celesteela or Metagross, but we brute forced our way through it with Heracross and Rillaboom and Celebi and managed to take this guy out. A statue to the Steel Executioner. We need a Scyther and an Aron, which we don't have either. So I just pick up another Ashen Shard and do a little bit of fishing. I catch a Relicanth and a Magikarp. Then I go back and I offer my Celebi and my Mareep for a stronger Pokemon. A Zapdos, level 20. I figured that getting a Zapdos at this point would be our best bet of moving forward. I also level up and evolve our Gyarados, and I have $12,000, so I buy a Snorlax from someone that's died. It's time to go back and finally face the double Gyarados trainer. And sure enough, after his Gyarados, he had a Dragonite, and it knocks out our entire team except for our Zapdos. Very, very close, but behind this, we get a Shred of Hope level 28, $5,000, a Dragon Fang, and an ability patch. So at least we got some good stuff for that challenge. I go ahead and use the items that I just gained on this Dragonite to get a multi-scale or Marvel scale Dragonite. There's another statue in here, the Treasure Keeper, in which we need a Pupitar and a Dragonair and a Dragalge. So once we get all of those, we'll be able to trade them in there. I then catch a few of the wild Pokemon in this area, some nice ground types, and we take on this envious Pokemaniac here, who had very strong Pokemon to level 36, including the Snorlax. But luckily, we've got some decently strong Pokemon too, some fully evolved ones, and with those numbers, we're able to take out this guy. We pick up a Heartstone, and I wanted to see what else was in this area, so we continue forward. But not before we do some fishing, including catching a Marshtomp and a Whincash and a Heliolisk. Now that I've finally got some strong Pokemon, I want to unlock more of the map, so we go back here and take on this Duelist, and we're finally able to take him out. Marshtomp did a lot of the work here, and then Dragonite was able to eat a +4 Gunk Shot and finish the battle. He, of course, was guarding the entrance to Feverthorn Jungle, and a Beedrillite, which I didn't use once this entire game. And that brings us to the Feverthorn Jungle. Once inside, I started catching Pokemon immediately. I picked up a TM for Venoshock, also picked up some heavy-duty boots. And look what we can catch here. Ferrothorn, Volcarona, even a wild Charizard, which is one of the rarest encounters here. I made my way back to this trainer, this Pyrotechnic trainer. He had a bunch of fire types, and they were tough. I eventually decided that we weren't going to do that. Instead, we were going to go ahead and take a rest. Our box wasn't looking great, so we slept, and that means that there were only 11 days remaining. But now, with my A-team, I headed back there, and we defeated that guy who said, "Don't hurt Gramps." He was standing behind a Firestone, so we grabbed that. Trainers are beginning to freeze in place, staring straight ahead. What could be causing this? Will it spread beyond the laboratories? Oh, so it's like a disease? Flamethrower. It's a disease, alright. I didn't have cut, so we're gonna have to come back to that. Time to take on a few other trainers around the area, like this hopeless guy here, who was guarding 2 Ultra Balls. So we picked those up, and also an Ashen Shard and this rock. Remember to talk to rocks whenever you can. Then it was back to the Guardian trainer in this route, who had some fire types, but by now we've got some strong Pokemon, so we take him out, and we pick up a Shred of Hope that he was guarding. Sky Spear Climb. Remember, the best trainers and the best Pokemon share a special bond. They all obey the champion. Dude, I feel like that's fake news. Oh, it's fake news, alright. There's a bunch of fake news in this game, so gotta take everything with a grain of salt. Wait, salt and shadow. Anyway, in the new route, we pick up some wild Pokemon and some wild money on the ground. Bunches of birds here, like Pidgeotto and Talonflame. I backtrack a little bit to see what this building is about. This guy had a Sableye and an unknown, some ghost types, some really interesting Pokemon, but nothing too difficult, and we enter the Fear Cage. Take it away. I don't like the sound of the Fear Cage. What is going on in here? Together, the champion and shepherd chained the vengeful horror as they met its gaze. Both saw through the cracks in reality. The champion saw that he would never lose. The shepherd saw that the world was already lost. The dreaming daughter died in terror. Her fear brought forth a nightmare child. I don't like the sound of this. Bunches of lore drops here, and if you can put it all together, let me know. Then we battle this Persian, which this is a technician Persian actually that you probably should catch. I didn't though, and I picked up the life orb that it was guarding. I also wrote down the location of this statue here because I didn't have the Absol, Liquid, and Dusclops, and Hypno yet. In fact, I wouldn't get a Hypno till near the end of the game because I'm stupid, but we'll get back to that. I continued down this Sky Spear climb and found a guy that's selling better items. Definitely useful, and I take on a few bird catchers in this route. Luckily, we got some decent typing here, and we got even some pseudo-legendaries. Beat this guy and catching a core fish after picking up this Ashen Shard. Doing fishing in every route is something you should definitely do because there's a bunch of really cool different Pokemon in each route. Then we go and take on this guy, and he's got two pretty strong fighting types, but isn't much of a challenge, and we pick up the Water Stone that he's guarding. Next up is a fisherman with some water types, but again, we're pretty strong by this point. We even pick up a Shred of Hope level 25. We break some rocks and pick up one of the most useful items in the run, a Rocky Helmet. Believe it or not, we're going to use this a lot. Then we take on this Sky Spear Psychic, but they're pretty strong, so I run away like a coward. We're going to try that one again later. I also catch a few more Pokemon in this route, like a Scyther, and a Pelipper, and even a Swanna. Why not? Then it's back to finishing up this route. Over here, we got a hiker that is keeping watch on everything, and he's got a few Pokemon that aren't super strong. So I go ahead and take them out and get TM for Play Rough, which is super useful. There's also another Wanderer challenge here, Memory of Arrogance. And this one you can see is a little tough considering we have level 5 Pokemon and they have like Charizards. But I actually do manage to beat that one and we get another Memory of Triumph. I run into an Aaron, which we actually need for a statue trade. So I pick that up and then back to the dojo where I grab the Mega Ring and Galadite because I've just caught so many Pokemon. It's card time, and so I'm going to challenge Tenma to a battle and lose. Then we're going to go back to the statue and get the Scizor holding the Scissorite, which is going to be necessary for me to beat the game. Trust me, we use this thing a lot, so I'm glad to get that. And then it's back to the Sky Spear Psychic. Now that I've got the Scizor, the bug type, we take them out, and they are guarding a Lucario Knight and an Ancestral Machine, which allows us to learn a egg move. I head into the Shimmering Lake, but don't really want to deal with that, so we go back, pick up a magnet, a Shred of Hope, some money on the ground, and we battle this guy that's talking about sharpening some blades. Hiker Investigator, get ready to go down. Unfortunately, his Pokemon were pretty strong, and we had a few casualties, but we defeated this Guardian Trainer and got access to Cut, which opens up a ton of new stuff in the game. We also got a Shred of Hope level 30, but as you can see, most of our Pokemon are kind of hovering around that level already. All the map is connected, so if we head through here, you'll see we're actually in Sky Spear Cavern, which we accessed earlier. We take on this Memory of Breaking, another challenge in the match, and this one took me forever. I'm learning. This is a lot of trial and error because you're simply outsmarting the AI as much as possible. Ooh. Oh my gosh, that took me 7 tries. Yeah, it took me a while, but I get that sweet, sweet Memory of Triumph. I read a little bit more about the virus taking over this world, about the PCs taking over, and we catch some Pokemon here in this route. I grab some items that are on the ground, like some Great Balls, a full restore, and we take on this trainer that is blocking the way back to the Dragon's Cave. This guy, luckily, wasn't too much of a challenge, so we defeat him, and everything is kind of connected now. Next up, we've got this beauty here, and she's got 2 level 36 Pokemon, so we're almost 10 levels down for the majority of our team. But we've got some decent typing matchups, so without too many casualties, we defeat her and pick up another Ashen Shard. I also catch a Gabite in this cave, which is pretty useful. We go back and exchange those Ashen Shards for an Ancient case, and then it's back to playing some cards. I finally get back to this guy, the card binder creator, and once I defeat him, he disappears. Where did he go? Well, we'll find out in a little bit. I go back to this glaive here and collect a moonstone, but this is a lore drop. Circe was right again. Oaths are pretty, fleeting things like flowers left to rot. They saw my gentle hand as weak. Strength and deed are gossamer thin. I have need of stronger chains. Yeah, pretty cool stuff here. Don't know what it all means quite yet, but we're starting to put the pieces together. There's even a beta feature here, and even though the developers did hop in my Discord, I decided to leave this one alone for now. Back to the Shimmering Lake. Oh man, we got some hints to where a keycard is going to be deep in the Feverthorn jungle, as well as some binary that we're going to need for later. Take note of that. I play cards with this guy, and actually won a few times, and then it's time to clear the Shimmering Lake route. Luckily, because of the way the pathing is done in this game, some of the challenges, or some of the trainers or guardian trainers in this route aren't too difficult. So we're going to take them out and get TM12 for Solar Blade. I noticed my friend the angler there, but first let's head into this rest. In this little rest cave here, we've got the Mightyena, Totodile, and Magikarp. So I'm going to have to catch some of those in order to get that protector. The Dreaming Halls are imperfect. The Will Breaker cannot be contained much longer. We tried. I don't know what that means yet, but it sounds pretty cool. The rules of this world are quite complex. So we pick up a Galladite, and I use the Shred of Hope to evolve my Kirlia. Then we talk to the angler, and he tells us about how he used to fish right here. And one day he was fishing in a Gyarados, pulled him into the water, but a whale lord saved him. It was a great story. He gave us an item, and then he walked away, sneezing in the grass. There was also another puzzle here, so you know me. I gave my shot at the Memory of Divergence. However, this one was also quite difficult, and it took me many tries. So I'm going to give up for now. Then we defeated this guy, a Crackle of Power, a scientist with some electric types. Luckily, our typings weren't too bad, though this one was quite difficult, and we did lose basically half of our team. He was guarding a Shred of Hope level 30 though, and another Ashen Shard. This also opened up a loop back to the Feverthorn jungle. We picked up TM 109 for Discharge, and then there was another Memory of Shame here that we had to take out. This was another tough battle, but we did this one actually in 2 tries, which gave us another Memory of Triumph, which again is just a max revive. We're going to be using these later, so it's great to pick up. Camper Venno here had some poison types, and we didn't have great type matchups for that, so I decided to come back to him later. Let's go back to the Shimmering Lake and clean up a few of these trainers. The water types aren't too bad here. We picked up a Gyarados Eye, another crucial item for this run, and I found a Wishing Well. I really wish that we win the champion's victory. The champion thanks you for good wishes. Let's do wealth. We found 2,000 Pokédollars. Illegal wish detected. What? Swimmer wish police? What? Swimmer wish police? I think we actually have a shot of winning this, though. This is one of those battles that you actually aren't supposed to win without major casualties. They lock you in with Whirlpool and use Perish Song. It's pretty tough, but luckily we had Volt Switch or U-Turn on almost every Pokemon, which means we won it. And I saved, and I went in again just to see what would happen. It did give us the money, but we had to face a stronger Wish Police. I reset and said, nope, we're not doing that one today. Another Fisherman out of the way, and then it's back to Sky Spear Climb. A lot of this game is balancing progression and battling the Guardian trainers in each route that are getting progressively harder. So there's a lot of hopping around in this part of the game as I'm strategizing, getting access to new Pokemon, and seeing what I can face. It's back to the lighthouse where I do a little recap and try to return home. But no, we've come so far, we're going to stay here. We can actually catch a Lapras here, so I used a lure ball that we got from the angler to catch one of those. Back into the lab, where basically everything started. Now there's an Iron Ball, and a guy here that wants to play cards. I don't quite understand the card game yet though, so we're going to come back to that one. I got a TM for Eerie Impulse, I see a False Professor there, a TM for Giga Drain, and then back to the False Professor. This guy is dark, blue-skinned, and covered with ghost types. Our typing isn't too bad, but I decided to run for now, and maybe we'll come back and try that again later. Back to this Venno guy with the poison types, and now with some steel types and poison types of my own, I managed to take him out, opening up a little bit more of the Feverthorn jungle. I saw this weird tree in the way, and I've heard that this is not a guaranteed shiny. So, is this a random full odds shiny? Let me know what your guys, was yours shiny? I have no idea. Anyway, it was a level 1 Celebi holding a Lumberry, so I grabbed that, read a little bit more lore about the Queen of Orchids in this area, put another statue on the map, and battle another Guardian Trainer. This Rumor Chaser here with the Bug types was no match for us, and then it was time for the Shrine Keeper with the Psychic types. Again, not too bad, but you see, it actually took out a few Pokemon on our team. So we are already on our like B or C team or second or third stream team at this point. Next we take on Lady Witch with her dark types, but we were able to defeat her too. And now that we have access to cut, we can pick up these items like an Ancestral Machine and some more Ultra Balls. Finally we made it to the Queen's Garden, but I don't know if I'm really ready for that yet. Let's head back and take out all the trainers in this route for all the money and just to see what's available. Luckily, we had some fire types, so the Ferrothorn guy was not that much of a match, and we'll head back to the Queen's Garden. This gives us access to new items like Fake Tear, and new Pokemon like Toxapeck, which is going to be crucial for winning this challenge. This guy was obsessed with Wobbuffets, having a bunch of them, and if you know Wobbuffets, you know that they are very tanky, and they have moves like Destiny Bond, Counter, and Mirror, like Mirror Move, or what is that? The one that mirror shot? I don't know. The move that reflects your special attacks. So it took down some of my team, but we managed to do it and pick up some more items. Do some fishing and catching a Politoed, which is going to be super useful. And then we take out this guy too, picking up the Nasty Plot TM. The Pokemon here are really interesting. Kind of Safari-like, like a Chansey. So we take that, and there's a little girl here playing cards. And I lose. Yep, super fun. There's also a person here selling some upgraded items like the ability capsule and patch, so I do a little bit of shopping. Then it's on to take on this fisherman here, who is guarding another fishing spot with some strong Pokemon. There's another challenge here. We're going to come back to this one later. Let's see what this sign says here. 3 out of 4 trainers recommend entering this cave. Alright. What is going on? April? Her name's not April? Blaziken and Sceptile, level 40. Can you guys guess who was the 4th trainer that did not approve of the cave? It was me. It was a gauntlet I couldn't run from, and so I died. But I learned. Back in the Feverthorn jungle, we're going to take on this duelist. All the duelists are one-on-one trainers instead of the normal double battles. The remains of a beloved warrior. She proved her worth to everyone except herself. Self-doubt devoured all she was until only this remained. Gather the shameful dregs? Ugh. Yes, her fighting isn't finished. We got an Eviolite. And a Shred of Hope level 33. Well, that Eviolite's gonna come in handy. So, we pick that up, of course. Then it's back to Camper Sleepy. He's tired of standing and guarding this tower. They had level 40s. Pretty strong, so we're going to come back to that one later. Then we go on to this Bugcatcher veteran who have some level 40 grass and bug Pokemon, but we actually managed to defeat him with some type matchups. Guarding a Light Ball. I pick up another Politoed. These are going to be my Sleepy Frogs using Hypnosis. Then I go back and exchange the Pokemon for a Salamence. Another crucial Pokemon that's going to take me all the way in this round. We got another battler to defeat here. We defeated this Black Belt, picking up our own Black Belt, a TM for Superpower, and a Shred of Hope, level 30. A lot of this game is strategizing around the Pokemon that each unique trainer has, and then getting the perfect team to defeat them. Okay, everyone that died climbing a mountain was once a highly motivated person. Reasonable goals. They're cool goals. Alright, well my goal is to defeat this game and defeat this trainer, but I tell you what, this trainer itself, we're coming back to that one. He's super tough. We are apparently not this guy's master, but we are going to try to take him out. The Sky Spear researcher had some strong electric types. We're up to level 40 Pokemon now, but again, with some favorable type matchups, we're able to defeat him, and he's guarding a Master Ball and a Thunderstone. If you can believe it, a Master Ball sitting out here in the open. The statue honoring the Mountain Lord, and trust me, we're going to want that one too, but we wrote it down on the map, and we'll come back to it. This guy's got a bunch of, like, these Alolan Geodudes, and they're pretty strong, but we managed to take him out, and he was guarding Earthquake, and that is a great TM. These tendrils are infecting trainers. They stand rigid, robotic, staring straight ahead. Some say the same thing each time I speak to them. Are they even alive anymore? Ah, so the PCs are influencing these trainers. Yeah, the virus is complicated. It's not really like a virus that is something that they can fight. It takes them over and makes them stand strong. The steel types run through their veins. So we defeat this guy, pick up a moonstone and ice beam. Tell me that one's not useful, right? And then we are here finally at the Sky Spear Summit. We pick up some ultra balls and a metal coat that's just hiding in a rock. And there's a bunch of new trainers and items to pick up, including a wide lens here and a sunstone down here. Then it's time to take on some trainers. We take on this bird keeper veteran here. Luckily, he's only got some level 30s and upper 30s, but with some decent typing matchups, we take him out. Then there's a guy laying on the ground, and he's sleeping. We get the option to enter the dream, so sure, why not? Inside, there's a TM for Dark Pulse, and when we break this rock inside, we can release all of the Pokemon, keeping him in his eternal nightmare. I thought about that by defeating him, we would help, but all it does is reset the dream. Then we go a little bit south here and take on this researcher who has a level 60 Regigigas and a Whimsicott with Memento. Its entire goal is to, like, weaken our team while it is getting the slow start on Regigigas. But by using a Perish Song strategy and then swapping out, I was actually able to defeat this guy. And he is guarding an old Amber and a little note that talks about how G is maybe one of the only strong ones that could defeat the champions. We're going to talk about G a little bit later. There's another device here that basically is forcing a spawn all the time, and it is a Togedemaru. So we're going to catch one of those, and then up here, there's a little gate blocking the way. This is the last bastion of the Firstborn. There's another salesman here selling a bunch of good TMs, and another rest house with a guy inside. You guess what this guy wants to do? Yep, play cards. He has rock types, and I suck at this game. So I give up for now, but we'll come back later. There's a little bit of lore here about cracks in reality, and that's going to be important later, and we're going to come back to it because it's a hint as to what we need to do in order to unlock some other parts of the game that I'm just too stupid to do right now. Well, we haven't really talked about the wild Pokemon here, so there's a bunch of really cool wild Pokemon on this route. Lucario, Gliscor, Pangoro, Skarmory, Staraptor. And I want to see what he has to offer. Wanderer. Many have ascended Sky Spear in search of power. Fearing our rising star, the champion severed the sources of growth and power and slew anyone who stood in his path. His betrayal is unforgivable, and he must pay the ultimate price, but no matter how much I drew upon this crystal, I failed to extract that price from him. By now, only a single drop remains. One drop can tip the scales. I will fight alongside you, turn back. This is Dragon Master G, one of the people that fought alongside the champion and maybe could have brought balance to the world, but instead he was guarding this upper beacon. So we're going to have to defeat him eventually, but right now it's back to this Guardian trainer. I also find a Honchkrow, which we're going to need for one of the other statue trades. And then it was on to this puzzle here, Memory of Pain. This was another very difficult one because it required a lot of strategy with Shuckle and then using priority. But luckily it only took me 1 or 2 tries and we get another Memory of Triumph. We look at this lady here, but she's got a level 45 Pokemon and a level 42 Pokemon. It's kind of tough, so I'm going to pick up a new team and we'll come back to that one later. I trade in some Ashen Shards and then we can finally get this Moltres here since we caught that Honchkrow. Galarian, the Galarian Moltres. So we pick that up and then use our Sleepy Frogs here to put Pokemon to sleep and catch a bunch of more. This guy's here. Okay, there you are. It's good to see a friendly face. I love the stillness of the water here. When I'm troubled, I like to calm my mind by sitting here at the pond. I recommend you give it a try sometimes. If you're lucky, you might just spot Lapras ferrying Pokemon across. I've seldom seen such selfishness between people. Would you like to hear another story? Sure. There was a time long ago when I sought to usurp the champion. Hard to imagine, I know, but in my youth, I was a terror. I traveled the Isle, capturing powerful Pokemon allies. Finally, I mounted a challenge against the master of Sky Spear Summit. I fought my way past scores of his acolytes. I knew I could beat him, but I never got the chance. Atop the mountain, I heard a sound. It was muffled, but it was unmistakable. It was the sound of a little girl crying. It came from an old, abandoned rest house. Inside was a girl even younger than you, curled in a ball, sobbing. The infection hadn't yet grabbed her. How I didn't know. What I did know was that she was alone and she needed help. Meeting my daughter changed everything. For the first time, I didn't just have something to fight for. I had something to live for. I gave up my quest soon after. The champion can rot in his tower for all I care. So long as I have my daughter, I'll be content. You should fight for her. Perhaps so. But I've seen what this island can do to a child, alone and afraid. I'd not wish that on anyone. I'd not leave her. As always, I appreciate your candor. Here, another gift. A Swamperdite. Sweet. The story nears its end. I'll see you where it began. So we're picking up a lot of lore in this game with this character, the Angler. Well, it's time to keep on moving and pick up a few more statue Pokemon, including a Raikou here in the Feverthorn jungle. I caught a Cloyster, and then when I was fishing in the Shimmering Lake... Does anyone want to explain? Does anyone want to talk about what's a Punkachu? I caught a Punkachu. Yeah, there's some variation Pikachus in this game that we're going to catch using static, so that's going to be important later. Then it's time to take on another one of these little challenges, and I got another Memory of Triumph. Oh my gosh, I haven't been in here yet. Okay, we can get an Ancestral Machine. Attempts to revive the dreaming daughter has failed. Her soul is not in the underworld. This is a cave that was blocked by the pyrotechnic earlier, and I needed Cut to get it. So once we got it, we head inside. There's a lady here, Dolores, that wants to play cards, and she's guarding the statue of the old hunter. What do you got to offer, my dude? A visitor. What irony. That the last soul I see from this sunlit world shall be a wanderer. You, given form by salt infused with shadow, your eyes must sting from the glare of the sun. The sea would drown us, but to you, it's home. Why struggle to save a doomed and painful world? Because others matter too. If only more of us agreed with that sentiment. I once fought beside the champion. I have never seen his equal. In Fear Cage, we shared a fateful vision. He saw that he would never lose. I saw that the world was already lost. Now the spirits draw us toward their realm. Let us return the favor. Bring me the dead remains of noble beasts, and I shall tear them back from the underworld. Do you have a fossil for me? Which fossil do you want to reincarnate? Ooh! Leave me. What must be done is not best witnessed. So this is one of the 4 beacons, and I believe it's the shepherd. So he is able to access the underworld, and so we give him some fossils, and he brings them back to life. There's also a bunch of creepy ghost types in this cave, if you can believe it. Quite thematically perfect. We go back to one of these challenges here, the Memory of Sacrifice in the Feverthorn jungle. This one was also quite tough, so we're going to come back to it later. It's time to progress. Then we're going to battle this lady that's guarding the shrine. And it's a close match. Only my Excadrill survives. Got another team. We're ready to progress a little bit. The tree shakes. No, please don't do this. You want money here? This is all I have. 2,000 Poké Dollars. No, not again. Never again. I don't know what to make of this. Trevenant, level 60. Are you gonna let me just Can I just catch this? You can't throw a Pokeball. At this point in the game, I'm not that surprised when things like this happens. There's so many quirky, weird things like that happen. By the way, the Pokeball behind it, it was empty. Then we take on Beauty Skin Taker. This is one of the first times I'm taking on this challenge, and it's pretty tough. And believe it or not, she knocks me out. She knocks out my entire team by using X items. So we're gonna have to come back and try to beat her later. I go ahead and head back to this guy and exchange some more Ashen Shards for a better item. We head back to the dojo now that we've caught enough Pokemon. And then we trade in some Pokemon at this statue to receive a Crystal Onyx. This Crystal Onyx is really great. It's immune to Earth-type moves because it heals it. It has amazing special defense and is a Steel Fairy type. Well, it's back to this trainer on Skyspear Summit, now with a little bit stronger Pokemon, and our A-team were able to take her out and pick up an Expert Belt. Then, we're going to head back to Shimmering Lake and do another sacrifice, receiving Suicune at level 28. Suicune is going to be another great Pokemon in this run. Then it's back to Skin Taker, who is guarding an Ashen Shard, and we're going to take her on this time using our brain by making her transform into Pokemon that we are stronger than, Mega Evolving a Lucario, and then Power Up Punching our way to victory. This unlocks this area. Goodness, that was stressful. What do we have here? Welcome, child. Even as the world fades, my garden flourishes. Do you know why orchids have value? Maybe they're beautiful. No, a sunset is beautiful and worthless. Sunsets can't be sold or used to elevate my status. Orchids are valuable because they're rare. They're fragile and need the perfect conditions to grow. What do they call flowers that grow anywhere? Weeds. The crystal's power flows unceasingly. If shared freely, it would be worthless. No one can own the world. The world needs owners. Cradle Island is a crib for us to play in. The firstborn nearly tore the crib apart. I tend it with both hands. No one values a gift more than its owner. If you don't share, we'll die. We all die eventually. But this crystal's power will hold back the void the longest. I'll be the last light in the shadowed sea. Nothing could be more perfect. You'll never understand. Okay, we're facing Queen of Orchids. I think we're about to get destroyed. We're about to get destroyed. The Queen of Orchids was quite strong with her, like, sunny day grass types, but we're going to eventually come back and take her out. It's not going to be too much of a problem. We're going to take a break from that one for now, even though she's got some nice philosophical points. We're going to take out this rocker dude who was guarding a Salamence site, and oh boy, another crucial item for this challenge. Mega Salamence is very strong. Then it's back to taking on this sleepy dude here. All of his Pokemon basically have like Hypnosis or Spore or some way to put you asleep. We eventually take him out, we pick up a Dome Fossil, and then we talk to this guy. This is just a transportation point between the Sky Spear Summit and this point. It's back to talking to the Shepherd, who's going to revive our Dome Fossil and give us a Kabutops. And now that we've got a Kabutops, well, it's back to the infamous cave. And now I am ready to take it on with a few stronger Pokemon, including a Mega Salamence and Crystal Onix. We are able to defeat April in battle, followed very quickly by this Professor. We take on the Professor, who has all of these starters from the Kanto region, and with our pseudo-legendaries and megas, we are able to defeat that Professor. Next up, we've got Braum. Do you guys remember Pokemon Trainer Braum? Well, he's got the Johto starters, levels 40s basically, but again, we've got some megas and some pseudo-legendaries, so we're going to take him out with only one Pokemon remaining. Insanely difficult gauntlet for this point in the game, but we managed to do it, which freed up this Ice Cave. In the Ice Cave, we pick up a Shred of Hope, level 44, quite strong, and also a Sea Mother's Tear. I see a crack in the wall, so I poke my way through, and inside, there's a light that glimmers and shimmers. Hi, this is Editing JB here. I was editing this episode and realized that I had lost footage for this part of the cave. So if you make your way through this cave, there is a Calyrex painting there on the back wall. There's also a little rock smash puzzle here that you have to do. That path you can never access. And then there is a crack in the wall here that if you go into it, leads you to a mysterious elevator. Once inside, we can go to the caves or the station. So this was where Braum, April, and the Professor were working. There's something trapped inside here, as if it's trying to escape. They try to maintain the barricade away from the PC that's infecting everything. And down here, there's even another blank card. This machine allows you to actually play the Voltorb Switch games, the Minesweeper-like game. And then there is a long list of dialogue here talking about a wanderer escaping from the lighthouse. So there's some important lore implications to this place, so I wanted to showcase that. I also unfortunately lost the footage for beating the Queen of Orchids. Her team revolves around a sun team and using a bunch of grass types. Once you defeat her, you get access to this beacon, which I mentioned in a little bit, will allow you to bring any Pokemon you get up to level 40 as many times as you want, and this is insanely useful. So all those Pokemon sitting in the box that are level 20, 5, 10, we can bring up to level 40. This does level the playing field and is a really important part of the Let's Play. The sooner you can do this, the sooner you can get to the mid to late game. Anyway, wanted to mention that. Back to you, JB. I'm going to come back to this area later because I want to take on this false Professor. So we head back to the lighthouse to take on the ghost types of the false Professor. I got some decent typing now, including a level 44 Salamence. And with Mega Salamence setting up Dragon Dances, and then I'm basically able to just one-shot or take out the majority of his team, if not the rest of his team. Without too much casualty, we take on the false Professor. He drops this Omega Ring. Omega Ring is going to allow us to Mega Evolve multiple times in a battle. So that's pretty great. And we picked up a keycard earlier. So now that we've got the keycard, I can finally head in this mysterious tube. Let's take a step inside. Oh, this is eerie. The panel with only 2 buttons, Hive and Lighthouse. I swear the areas with no music in this game are the most creepy. Inside the Hive complex, there's a bunch of scientists here that have been overtaken by the Steel Father. Steel runs through their veins. They only speak in binary, and much like the PCs taking over the world, adapting, evolving, the Guardian trainers, we've got to take them on. There's also some books with some lore hints and some lore drops in here. If you want the full version, you might have to check out all my episodes. This guy has a Melton and a Melmetal. I think electric and steel types you'll see will be the themes in here. 3 ancestral machines here, and then a statue to the hexadecimal keeper. I don't have all the Pokemon for that one yet, so we'll come back in a little bit. Another binary guy to take out, some more strong steel types, but luckily we have Earthquake and some fire types, and we're going to take them out. Next up are all these puzzles on the floor. Do you guys like spinning puzzles? Yeah, another trainer to take out here with some more steel types like a Klefki and Aegislash. Pretty fun. We pick up another Sea Mother's Tear, another Shred of Hope level 44, and these are going to be really useful for the later part in the game. Some more talk about a Steel Father, not sure what that is quite yet, and this guy that just has a singular Steelix at level 70, 30 levels stronger than all of our Pokemon. Of course, he Mega Evolves, and he almost wipes out our entire team, but we are able to defeat him. Now it is all clear. I must kill the Dreaming Daughter. The Steel Father will help. We must drown the world to kill its monstrous offspring, short-circuit the network, kill father and child so life may be made anew, pure of anomalous infections. Yep, some more lore hints there that the champion, well, he had to kill someone. Remember the tomb we found earlier? Anyway, we go through and into the inner hive where we pick up TM-170 for flash cannon and these really creepy computers. This thing here is an on-off switch and I'm not quite sure what to do with it yet, so we'll come back. And then I work my way inwards and I find the Steel Father, the mega computer at the center of everything. And it's got some really strong Genesects. I try my best to take out a few Genesects, but it's just way too strong. So I come back to that one. I use all my Shreds of Hopes and defeat the Queen of Orchids, and once I do that, we get access to this beacon. This beacon here allows us to level up all of our Pokemon to level 40 that are in our party. So we're going to use that, catch a few more Pokemon, and then make a sacrifice to basically to get Zygarde, the hexadecimal keeper. Then it's back to Sky Spear Tower, where we're going to take on G. After defeating the Queen of Orchids, G is naturally the next champion that we need to take out. They have a bunch of dragon types, obviously, and they're almost all in the 40s and 50s. But now we've got access to level 40 Pokemon ourselves. By Mega Evolving and using some fairy types, we're able to take out the Master G. It was a close one, though. We had to use a Memory of Triumph to revive a Milotic to eat some attacks from a Dragonite, but we managed to defeat him. You give the champion hell for me. And we got a Garchomp level 40. Heck yeah. And there he goes. So what do we have up here? Unlike the other beacon at the Queen of Orchids that allows us to level up our team to level 40 indefinitely, this one will only allow us to level up one Pokemon to level 48. And I use this on Arceus eventually. Spoiler. Sorry. Anyway, now that this is unlocked, we're able to get Dragon Pulse, Breaking Swipe, and another Sea Mother's Tear. And this guy, he's a Soul Collector. I don't like that at all. He's really freaking strong. I go in trying to use as much strategy as I possibly can, and now that we've got access to level 40 Pokemon, this seems doable. But he basically takes out the vast majority of my team with his ghost types. Luckily, we do have this Galarian Moltres, which is pretty strong. We also have a Garchomp, which is strong. I have to use another Memory of Triumph on Skarmory here, actually, to take this guy out, but we defeated Gentleman Soul Collector with 5 Pokemon down and a Memory of Triumph later. We pick up a Shred of Hope, which is pointless now because we can level up all of our Pokemon to level 40, but it was also guarding a Gengarite, which is quite useful. Then we go down and take on this challenge, a Duelist Master. He has level 1 Pokemon. Do you see what's going on here? It's kind of a cheese like Endeavor Focus Sash team. Luckily, we had rocks on the field and priority moves, so he was defeated, and he was guarding a Focus Sash, another much needed item in order to beat this game. It's back to the Dreamer, and until you catch one of these Pokemon, his dreams will continue forever and ever. So I give it my best shot to catch Miss Magius, which I feel like would be one of the more useful Pokemon here. I failed the first time because of a sandstorm, but the second time we catch it, and we add it to our box, another Pokemon to our roster. This time he sleeps peacefully. The nightmare he imprisoned has a new cage now. Now that we have cut, we can backtrack and enter the Nitra Mine. This area is very, very freaking weird. Some more lore drops here. You can still move on your own. I hit as long as I could, but it got me. My veins, they're wires now. It marches me like a puppet. Please, just let my days run out. Let it end. Well, we put this guy out of his misery. He's got some interesting Pokemon, including a level 50 Muck, basically. But we're able to take him out. Put him out of his misery. Yep, he can't bleed. He can only break. He's guarding a bunch of good items, though, including an Ampharosite, which I don't think I used once in this entire run, a team for Sludge Bomb, a Shred of Hope level 33, again, we completely useless because we defeated the Queen of Orchids, a Pidgeotite, I do a little fishing in here, and I find a Nihilego, which is one of those rare Ultra Beasts. I try to catch it, but I'm unable to, and it's actually taking out the majority of my team, so I run, and we'll come back to this one later. Then it's back to this pillar where it all started to talk to our friend, the Angler. Take it away, JB. I was created for a purpose. As any wanderer is, I took up that burden willingly, and I shed it willingly when I met my daughter. I knew then, as sure as I know the sea, that I'd give anything for her. For a time, life was bliss. It was far from easy, but we looked after one another. I taught her how to fish, how to scavenge, how to defend herself. She taught me so much more. She's fiercely intelligent, my daughter. She certainly didn't get that from me. And she's a good person. Better than I ever was. I couldn't keep her safe forever. One day she told me she'd made up her mind she would defeat the champion. My greatest fear was realized. I did not want her to follow my path, so I told her of my own journey. I told her of its many perils. I told her that I didn't believe she had what it takes. I just wanted to protect her, but my fear of losing her had consumed me, and I lost her anyway. It's been ages since we last spoke. That fight weighs heavy on my mind, and hers, I suspect. She hasn't forgiven me. I don't know if she can. I'm sorry. I've made peace with it. It's not on her to forgive me. As a father, I have but one purpose: to prepare my daughter for what's to come. If I could do it all again, I'd do it just the same. I cherish those fleeting moments. I'm an old fisher. I've told you my stories. Both you and my daughter have outgrown your need of me. Please, would you put me to rest? What do you mean? My story has had its ups and downs. Perhaps I don't deserve this, but I wanted to end on my own terms. When you tell my story, I want to be remembered as a fighter. Someone who, in another life, could have defeated the champion. Someone who supported the person that did. So I ask again, would you put me to rest? Okay, does he want to battle? Because my team sucks. Sure. Thank you. One last tale then, to end the saga. Ready yourself. Alright, my team sucks. I don't think we can beat this guy. And oh boy, was I right. Yeah, we weren't beating this guy with the team that we have right now, but I don't think he was good enough to defeat the champion anyway. I'm just being real, guys. Bunches of lore there. Put it together for yourself. See what you think. Who was his dreaming daughter? Was it the one that the champion killed? I don't know. Well, we go back and take a rest to pick up our A team, and then it's back to take on the Angler with a little bit of strategy, including a Drought team, a Chlorophyll Venusaur, and a Politoed that puts everything to sleep. This battle was quite tough. Wailord using Water Spout, very, very strong. Of course, he had a Gyarados, quite strong itself. Seaking wasn't doing too much, especially in the rain, and now we can Mega Evolve our own Gyarados. Ferrothorn also had great typing, so we definitely pulled out the Ferrothorn. We were able to take out all of his Pokemon, including the Seismitoad, the Relicanth, and finally his Strawberry Mega Slowbro. The Slowpoke that he told us about catching long ago, well, this was it now. But eventually we defeated the Angler, who said we were quite masterful, and he gave us his Strawberry, his Slowbro holding the Slowbroite. And he says that everyone deserves to be happy. Take it away. If I could ask just one more favor, should you meet my daughter, my Kara, could you tell her I'm sorry, and I'm proud of her? There he went. Quite sad. We've become quite close to the Angler over all this time. Anyway, it's back to the dojo where we picked up all the items because we've caught enough Pokemon, and now there's this tube. And as we've seen before, this is going to take us deep underground to an area that is somewhat safe, called the Distant Light. And here is Red. Let's give him a run for his money. The Distant Light is some area on the other part of the island that the infection hasn't quite got to yet. Just like the Angler was a wanderer made of salt and shadow, it seems that Red here is also an Angler made of salt and shadow. I thought that I've got a decent enough team to take him on, but his Pokemon are all basically level 60 to 70, and it's quite difficult. I strategize a lot, swapping in and out Pokemon, trying to deal with Pokemon that can deal with rock slides, with blizzards, basically Pokemon that are going to be hitting with multiple moves at the same time. But this guy is way too strong for me. In fact, when I first looked at this, I said it wasn't possible. And so, even though I died here, and we've only got, what is this, 6 days remaining, I said, you know what, Red's not possible, so let's go take on the champion. I had no idea what to expect when I walked in here. I thought, oh, okay, the champion is this Blaine-like character. Oh, little did I know that there's actually an Elite Four that we have to get through first. And sure enough, this Dr. Vane here, well, he had a bunch of Pokemon between level 40, level 60. He even had a Mega Charizard X. But basically on the 3rd or 4th try, I was able to defeat him. Yes, I was quote-unquote save scumming here and saving the game and going back into it. But we're playing on Perish mode, and I assure you the game is not possible if you don't. When we step on this after we defeat him, it'll give us the option to heal our Pokemon that haven't fainted. But you know, I don't need no help from nobody. So we say no to that, basically because all of our Pokemon were dead anyway. And then it's on to the next person, which I also thought may have been the champion. But when he said the champion will reign forever, I knew it wasn't him. Next, we were defeating Pronouncer Brutus, or at least we were attempting to. And he had a lot of strong Pokemon too, like a Defiant Bisharp with Sucker Punch, a Guts Machamp, he even had a Darmanitan and a Terrakion, Staraptor, and a Mega Kangaskhan at level 60. Another very difficult tries later, I could not defeat his Mega Kangaskhan. And we lost another day. Only 5 days now remaining. The Perish song is growing in tempo. I thought to myself, is this challenge possible? Maybe it is, I just have to strategize better. So I ran back in, thinking with my hubris that we could defeat the Elite Four. Well, we did manage to defeat Brutus this time. And again, I don't need none of your stinking heals. My goodness, we got a little bit of a lore drop here with these notes left from the champion. And talking about Cersei, who we hadn't run into yet. Next up, we talk to this guy, who is also a wanderer that came to this world to fix it, realized that he couldn't, and then decided to switch teams. Master Warren. Another strong Pokemon trainer. Bunches of good Pokemon, including an Ursaluna with a move that does 140 base power, normal type move, insanely strong. And even with Zygarde, I couldn't take him out. Yeah, I don't really see I don't really see how this is possible. Another day goes by. I thought, again, is this challenge even possible? At this point, I decided to explore more of the map and see what I was missing. I remember that binary code. Off, on, off, on. There's a click and then a whirring sound and then silence. So when I go back and input this whirring sound, it unexpectedly unlocks this door from the hive. What is in here? Oh, it's getting dark. Oh, that actually just scared the fire out of me. There's a giant mirror that spans the whole wall of the cavern. Your reflection catches your eye. You've never really gotten to see yourself clearly before. You wonder if your appearance is modeled after someone. Not that it matters. They're probably long gone if they even exist in the first place. The mirror makes you feel even so slightly less alone, at least. Touch it? Yes. You cautiously reach out to your reflection. Just as your fingertips are about to touch, you catch a glimpse of... Wait, we're battling a reflection? You were challenged by your reflection. It's going to have shiny variants of my own Pokemon. Well, this isn't great. If you couldn't tell by my confusion there, we were trying to defeat our own reflection. So that was a tough challenge that we'll have to come back to later. Back in the Fever Thorn jungle, I found another wild Pokemon, another wild encounter, and it's an Absol. So we managed to catch it. We're gonna need it for a trade-in later. I took some water from this fountain and the ghost at the fountain attacked me. Thought. So now it says that they've poisoned the fountain. Let's take some water. We obtained black sludge. Okay. I forgot to talk to this fountain earlier, but yeah, that's what it does. Anyway, it's back to take on another boss in this run, the Steel Father. And by setting up with quiver dances on a Volcarona and using Crystal Onyx with a Memory of Triumph. Oh, I think I won. I couldn't even commentate. I was focusing so hard, and we had to use items. I don't know if it's worth it. Maybe it is. Cognition shutting down. New user accepted. Goodbye, world. PC admin privileges granted. The Wanderer booted the PC. Dev console. Welcome operator. Please enter your command. Oh. Yeah, it was worth it. This gives us access to set wild Pokemon levels up to 42. I'm actually going to set it to 5 just so we can more easily catch Pokemon. And it also lets us affect shiny rates. Then it's back to take on Champion Red. We defeated Wanderer Red. Incredible. Is this hope? Your power. Your resolve was stronger than mine. I think the monster has something new to fear. I'm sorry I tried to stop you. I hope I didn't weaken you too much. The monster wants you to sacrifice yourself. Don't. If you refuse, it will reveal itself. Just don't lose. This world, even now, there's some beauty in it. One last look, and they've returned to Salt and Shadow. Well, after that, we pick up some plates behind a rock. Yeah, it's all the typing plates for Arceus. And then we do some fishing, next to God himself. Yes, Red, the Wanderer, made of Salt and Shadow, was guarding Arceus, the God Pokemon. And I ain't playing around, so I used a Master Ball to catch it. The strategy for Red was me setting up with Mega Salamence on turn 1 by using Wide Guard, and then I was able to take him out. Well, it's back to my reflection where I do some more strategizing by using a Shuckle and a Tapu Fini, and neither Shuckle or Tapu Fini had any moves that could damage me. I taught them all like moves that basically did nothing, or like Heal Pulse or Shell Smash, and then I set up again with Mega Salamence. We beat our reflection. The defeated reflection glares at you in shock and anger. Slowly, it offers you a handshake. Accept the shake. You reach out. Your reflection suddenly shimmers and have vanished, leaving behind a Pokeball. Reach in and take the Pokeball? Yeah. The mirror bulges and ripples under your touch. You grasp the item within. And we attained a Ditto, level 40. Oops. You made a rather large hole in the wall. It's probably fine. There's a hole in the glass large enough to crawl in. Let's reach inside. You feel nothing. Nothing at all. There's no breeze. It's not even cold. Sit on the edge of existence? Yes, cautiously. You stare down into the perfect abyss. This part of the world is unfinished. After the Sea Mother made the night and dark sea, there was still darkness left over. You are made of this darkness, anchored by salt. Enter the abyssal sea? Yes. You must not. Creature of shadow, made from the darkness left over. If you were to enter as you are now, you would be lost. Lost like a drop of water in a swirling sea. I jump in. I want to feel it. Here goes nothing. Literally. There's a rock smash. You died. You have learned. Try a different path. You awake, battered and defeated. You know, the game did tell me not to do that. Yeah, dude, I had to try it out. I just had to, okay? Anyway, then we defeated some card guys, which unlocked this poker lounge here in the deep woods. And sure enough, in the back is this Giovanni-like character that gave us the card binder to begin with. The game card's creator. This is very important. So, we see this little book that says the cracks in reality. See this crack? See this crack right here? That were in all the rest houses? I didn't see that until, 25 hours of playing this game. Okay? You're supposed to see this basically right off the bat in the farmlands. And I didn't see it. But if we head inside, it takes us to this creepy area with some battle items. And then inside, the dreaming halls should be monitored and under no circumstances wake the dreamer. There's a guy standing here, and let's enter his dream, and we enter the dreaming halls. Naturally, like I said, we were supposed to access this earlier once we had access to the farmlands rest house, but I didn't access this until at this point. What happened? Oh, it's a Trevenant. Okay, I didn't expect the tree to be alive. And this place is backwards, man. There's alive trees and everything. Anyway, we explore and defeat some of the trainers, pick up some items. This area is not too difficult because we should have accessed it earlier. Oh. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Yep, wish I realized we had access to the nature mints earlier. Well, this trainer had a level 42 Lugia. Luckily, it was 2v1 and we had a Mega Salamence, so it wasn't too bad. We picked up a ton more items and faced off some more trainers. Down here on this lower level, we pick up a Spell Tag, we pick up some PP Maxes, and I even find one of my first shinies. Well, not really my first shinies. Remember, we also have the boosted shiny rates. The wild Pokemon here are mostly Psychic and Poison types. Pokemon like Hatterene is great to pick up, so we're going to pick them up and pick up a bunch of items in this area, including a bunch of money laying on the ground. Do you guys dream of money in your dreams? I think that's what's going on here. This trainer had a Latios and Latias, which actually was not that easy of a fight, but again, with Mega Salamence, we're able to take them out, and they're guarding another Shred of Hope. We pick up another TM. The beckoning of the bottomless hungry sea calling you to return to sleep. If so, partake at your leisure. Some more lore drops here, and speaking of partaking in rest at your leisure, we pick up rest in the TM for sleep talk. There's also painting here, and we're going to use a blank card that we got from the poker lounge. We're going to be able to absorb this painting into the blank card, making a new card for our deck. And speaking of blank cards, we pick up a new one. Then it's time to battle Cersei. It's Cersei. I was not expecting this at all. Genuinely was not expecting this at all. I was not expecting to battle Cersei at this point in the game, but we found her here in this dark dreaming halls, so we're going to battle her with a Mega Mawile. Using Sucker Punch, we're going to take out a lot of her Psychic type Pokemon. Then Volcarona, the Bug type, and Salamence, being in Mega form, is going to take out the rest of her team, including a Hoopa. We defeated Willbreaker Cersei. Now, we'll see who is the dreamer and who is the dream. The memory reservoirs have unlocked their full potential and can teach moves of any level now. That's so good! There's also some items down here, including a Sea Mother's Tear, another Shred of Hope, Psychic Terrain, and Expanding Force. We also get access to this little statue here. There's an Idle Chew here, one of those unique Pikachus. So we catch one of those, and then we're going to sacrifice our Pokemon to get a Lunala. And Lunala is quite strong. Look at those stats. Goodness gracious. It also has Shadow Shield, which is pretty good. Then it's back to the Fear Cage, where we're going to do another sacrifice and obtain Darkrai, level 40. This shiny Darkrai is going to be one of the most crucial Pokemon in the entire run. If you would have told me that when I got it, I would not have believed it. When I go to pick up this blank card, I realize there's another crack here in reality. And we step through, and inside there's a statue to the Crimson Vanquisher. I don't have all the Pokemon for that yet, so we'll come back to it. While trying to access this puzzle here, I find a wild Greninja that's shiny. This is a forced encounter, by the way, so of course I catch it. Then we defeat that and get another Memory of Triumph. Take a look at my boxes. Starting to look pretty good, right? I'm getting a lot of different Pokemon, a lot of different strategy ideas, and we go back and trade in all the unique Pikachu forms for the Crimson Vanquisher. Would you believe it that this is another Pokemon that I think is almost a necessity in order to beat this game? It's super strong, level 42, look at those stats, actually incredible, and it gets the ability Turbocharger, which is going to boost your allies' attack and special attack whenever you send it into battle. Then it's back to the Poker Lounge for a little bit of break from battling, a little bit of loss of money, and a little bit of battling with some trainers. As you can see here, I am the 13th trainer, which starts up a tournament. So I said, you know what, why not? Let's take on a tournament. The first challenge was, well, a challenge, but we managed to defeat them. And then next up, we were able to defeat them too. After a few more tries, we eventually went our way up to the grand prize, defeating Laura, the strongest trainer in the land of this card game. See, like, what is this? I mean, I can actually beat this. What are my cards? Okay, we gotta play it from that angle. I might win. It depends what our last card is. Ah, I lose because our last card is a freaking Regirock. All right, one more try. I won! Oh, we won. Incredible. This feeling. I've forgotten the Searing Flames defeat. It's been so long since I felt the hunger. Thank you, child. When we meet... That's enough, Laura. Your droning no longer interest me. What the heck? What a beautiful game. From the beginning, I sense greatness within you, yet you have exceeded my ever expectation. The prize for winning three wins is 50,000, though I must deduct your entry fee of 10,000. Okay. As tournament champion, you also receive 3 blank cards. All hail the new Queen of Games. Everyone's missing. Thank you, child. I'd lost hope of cultivating a worthy opponent. Little Laura was the best I could do, but she was limited. The most she could ever be was a whetstone. Want to take a quick second to pause and explain the card mechanics real quick. Basically, you use the 4 sides, and whatever number is larger when looking at the cards, and it's facing in that direction, the larger number is going to win and capture the card next to it. That is basically all it is. It's a great little card game, and also if you use the blank cards, you can use Pokemon that you've caught in order to exchange them, put their souls in the cards, giving you a strong card. And yes, I did this with Arceus, which means I no longer had a level 48 Arceus going into the champion matches. I also did this with Lunala. It was probably stupid, but I did it because I wanted to win the stinking card game, and this was the only way I could do it. Anyway, back to the video. We head into this area here where we find the Dark Giovanni, who's captured all of the souls of all the players into blank cards and framed them on the walls. And now it's time to play him once again in shadow cards. He doesn't want to wager this time, though, because he's been wanting to play with someone worthy for a very long time. And oh my gosh, look at his cards. Goodness gracious. But we're able to win the first time. And he's like, yep, that's sweet. So we're going to change the rules a little bit. And now if you capture a card with a number of the same one, you can capture, those cards will capture other cards with numbers of the same ones. And that's called the Game of Treachery. Next up, we have the Infinite Game. This makes it, oh, this is not the game to get Shuckle. Not the game to get Shuckle. Oh, I won. I never expected this. How could you beat me thrice in a row? It seems for once I'm the one that made a most foolish bargain, but a debt must be honored, even my own. Make your request. Serve me in battle. I kind of want to see what Release the Trap players do, but I traded in my Arceus to win this match. So we're going to get a Giratina level 42 instead. So we add Giratina to the team. And now the lounge is empty because all the trainers are in blank cards. Was it a worthy sacrifice? You decide. Anyway, now that we got some stronger Pokemon, it's back to the championship gauntlet. The Elite Four, Brutus was no match there, and now it's time to take on Warren. Of course, we've defeated these guys before, but oh my gosh, this battle took me so long once again. Eventually, we defeated Warren, and it's on to the next trainer. I've never made it this far, and I didn't expect this. And use the other This is not what I was expecting. Hello, welcome to the Pokemon Center. Would you like me to heal your Pokemon? No, I understand. I wish I could have healed you when you needed it. If you manage to reach him, remember, the champion will reign forever. This is not what I was expecting. What is going on? Man, this game throws you curveballs all the time. Like a Nurse Joy that is a Celesteela and a Xerneas. After trying this match for, I kid you not, maybe 20 times. Oh, it's so easy if you just use your brain. You defeated High Priestess Joy. I couldn't save you from him after all. There she went. Can I use that healing thing right there? Nope. Okay. This might be the last, but I don't know what to expect. I have never seen this far in the game. Gee, if you're reading this, I admit to one small weakness. I have yet to set aside all childish things. Though greater powers are within my grasp, I keep the Gyarados you taught me how to train. And to the Nameless, I know you'll never read this. I kept your favorite too. Am I the Nameless? And gee, setting up with Pokemon like Scizor and using Swords Dance is a great way to go. But this is when I enter the champions room. Is that Gary? Is that Blue? Let's give it a shot. A new face? If we've met before, forgive me. I don't remember weaklings. I'm the master of this world. Why do you come to visit my throne? I'm here to challenge you. Why? So that you may bleed yourself on the cursed altar? I killed one child, so she drowns them all. How loving. Something is wrong with this world, as if error text missing. There, you see, I can't even speak of error text missing. Not that it matters. Steel burns in my veins. The world is broken. It cannot be fixed, only reborn. I will not feed my corpse to a ravenous future. Who killed the dreamer? When the PC presented me with Zacian, it brought me power and clarity. 13 children had come before me, 13 champions, children that rose above the rest, forged their soul into offerings, but If she wanted my soul for her chorus, she'll have to drown the world to get it. I shall never sing for her grotesque indulgence. I will die undefeated, the greatest there ever was. Enough talk. And we're facing Champion Blue. Well, I would see this animation of battling Blue many times, but this was the first time. I didn't know what to expect, but I went in, again, trying to set up basically screens, trying to swap out really strategically to set up Pokemon that have type advantages, but he's got a freaking Primordial Groudon and Kyogre. Not that easy of a battle. I've tried a bunch of different combinations of teams. I've tried almost everything that I have as a resource right now, and I don't think this is possible. I kid you not, after hours and hours of trying, I went back in one more time and I was like, okay, if we do not win this time, I'm just going to call it. And we did manage to take out some of his Pokemon, 4 of his 6 Pokemon, but it was just too much. And I figured at this point, I don't think that this game is possible. I think if you look at the numbers of these enemies, I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's strategically possible. And there's only 2 days remaining. But I did a bunch of prep work. I went back and used that Orchid Spring to raise up my Pokemon to level 40. I had boxes and boxes of strong Pokemon. And then once I had all the boxes of strong Pokemon, I decided to go back in one more time to this gauntlet. Give it my best go, lowest amount of deaths possible. We take on Dr. Vane. And sure enough, we're able to defeat Dr. Vane by setting up with a Mega Gyarados. And using a Ferrothorn who's able to tank some Earthquakes, use Protect, we are able to defeat Dr. Vane without too many casualties. We move on to the next challenger, Brutus, who has this really strong Mega Kangaskhan, but we were able to knock him out. Then it's on to Warren. Here's some audio of me trying and losing my sanity for like 3 hours. You have to get so lucky. You have to get lucky. I had stronger Pokemon, but I'm saving them for the championship match. 140 power. There's no chance. There's no chance. And I can't even send out a ghost type. I just gotta get lucky. Just gotta get lucky. Did I mention you can't use healing items in here? Please, Scissor, please. No! No! Okay. Come on, low damage, low damage. This is crazy. Flinch, please. Oh my gosh! Oh, that took so long! Oh yeah, that one took a long time, but then it was back on to Nurse Joy, and this time we were able to defeat her really without much trouble. And just like that, we're back to the champion. Here's the audio of me battling and defeating the champion, or at least attempting to, for almost 8 hours. Get lucky. You gotta get lucky. No, we just gotta land that 100% of the time. Okay. Screw you.
8 hours later.
I have 8 hours of footage of me failing this battle over and over and over again. But what you're watching now is the one where I did it. I beat the champion. I'm going to talk you through the strategies now in which I did that. So, I started out with Redcap Pikachu and Mawile, because Redcap Pikachu is going to outspeed the Gyarados, and it's also going to be able to get a Volt Switch. It raises the Mawile stats. We're Mega Mawiling. Mega Mawile's only job in this fight is to either tank a hit, so depending on what the AI does, it can tank a hit. The only thing it dies to here is Shadow Ball, and it can Sucker Punch the Gengar. So if I Sky Vengeance, which always goes first, and Sucker Punch, we 100% take out the Gengar 100% of the time. The only thing that it can do really here is Waterfall, which we're going to live. Now, it's always going to send out the Groudon into Mawile Pikachu because it looks at the typing. With that, we're going to be able to outspeed and swap out here, and then Mawile is going to die like 95% of the times. There is a chance that it goes for something that it can't die to, but for just the maximum amount of damage, I just go for Sucker Punch, and then we're going to swap out and bring out Salamence, who's going to be immune to the ground type attacks from Groudon is going to resist most of the attacks from both of these and is only going to be able to get hit by Ice Fang, which Mega Salamence needs 2 or 3 Ice Fangs after the Intimidate in order to die. So we actually got really lucky here, and the AI did not kill Mawile, which means we get another move off on Mawile. And then the main strategy here is going to just set up on Salamence to take out as many things as possible. It's going to be immune to the Precipitate Blades from Groudon or whatever that move is. And then Iron Head, you see, even with a crit, just does not do that much. Then comes the fun part of the strategy of sleeping. Now, this is where 90% of the resets happen. You're going to be Dark Voiding on Darkrai. Darkrai can take 1 hit from one of these guys. It cannot take more than that. But Dark Void puts both of them to sleep. And that is the time that you're going to be using to set up. You're going to set up as much as possible. You're getting Bad Dreams residual damage off. And you're just going to basically be spamming Dark Void and Dark Pulse and just trying to chip away at Groudon and Gyarados while setting up on Salamence as much as possible, because we need a Pokemon to do a lot. Salamence is great for it because it has great coverage. It gets Intimidate when it comes in, and it can resist all of the moves from Gyarados and Groudon, except for Ice Fang, which we know we can live at this point. So just spamming Dark Void will keep these two asleep. Again, you have to high roll the sleeps. If they instant wake up or you get 2 moved sleep, they will just take out Salamence with like a Stone Edge or an Ice Fang, and you have to reset. You go in, it takes about 2 or 3 minutes to get to this point, and then I reset, I kid you not, 50 or 60 times in order to get this. Now, Salamence is like +5, where Earthquake is going to take out Darkrai, but Darkrai's done its job. It let us set up Salamence and is going to do an insane amount of damage. This is where it gets interesting too, because Zacian comes in, and Zacian's typing, Steel Fairy, is insane. You really can only hit it with ground type moves. So I gave an air balloon to the Red Cap Pika here so that it could stay in. We're definitely going to outspeed everything on the map with Earthquake. And so I just need to make sure that we can get an Earthquake off and do a ton of damage to Kyogre and take out Zacian. So I go with the Sky's Vengeance. I think I go with the Sky's Vengeance. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, Sky's Vengeance on Kyogre just to get off as much damage as possible on Kyogre. And then the Earthquake, of course, we're air ballooned. And it is going to do massive damage because we're like +5 at this point, or +6 after the Red Cap Pikachu comes in. So Salamence puts in insane amount of work here. And then next up, we have the Delta Rayquaza. And I brought a Pokemon along just to deal with the Delta Rayquaza, because when it Mega Evolves, it is going to set up, or the Mega Rayquaza is going to set up screens. And the screens are going to have basically all the damage coming in. So if we go out into Mr. Rhyme, it is going to be able to look through. It's going to screen wipe the screens away. And then we're just left with a Salamence that's like +5, +6 attack, +5 speed, and it'll one-shot it. And that's where you think you win the game. But no, 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 no. He's got another Pokemon, the 7th Pokemon, Eternatus, the hand form, right? So there's a few different ways you can tackle this. You see, I've got the Ditto still in my back pocket, which is going to turn into it. And this is where I thought I had lost, because I ally swapped, which actually took out my Salamence that I thought could one-shot Eternatus, if not do massive damage to Eternatus. However, we still had the Ditto in our back pocket. And so I have a Focus Sash on Mr. Rhyme. So we'll go with the Mirror Shot, and then just the Eternablast. We're faster because we're a buffed Ditto, and because we have better typing, we're going to be able to get off our Eternatus Blast first. Mirko is going to do insane amounts of damage. And then this is where I'm going to come back in with the audio very closely, as I realize that it's almost impossible for me to lose this match at this point. And we did it. Just like that, we won. Take it away! Did I win? Oh my gosh! I won! Did I win? Did I win? Wait, come here! I won! Come here! I won! The story was never about you. No, I was so close. You can't revive her! You absorbed the soul of the champion. Oh, guys, you have no idea. That is 6 hours of my life I will never get back. But gosh, darn was it worth it. I was yelling so loud my dog got all excited. Well, we defeated the champion at last. And then there's just this creepy lady. She tells us that we have to sacrifice ourselves. Pesky child, with the champion's power, you can restore hope to the lost world by returning that which you stole. You can appease the Sea Mother's wrath. The people and Pokemon will be able to grow and change once again. You can save everyone. Awesome. A statue to the dreaming daughter. You feel a black emptiness welling within your stomach. Offer yourself. Well, we've come this far, so we are of course going to offer ourselves in exchange for saving the world. What's left of it? We did it with Redcap Pikachu, a Mawile that you know was pretty good. The star of the show, this Ditto, Darkrai putting in work. Of course, couldn't have done it without a Mega Salamence. And believe it or not, you have to bring something to get rid of those Aurora Veils, and Mr. Rhyme is exactly what I needed. I thought I had lost it when I ally switched. I thought I had lost right then and there. I was so sure I had lost. But we did it. We sacrificed ourselves, and under 40 game hours, we defeated the games. The credit rolls, and I thought, oh my gosh, I defeated the Dark Souls of Pokemon. Once, I thought it was statistically impossible, but we did it. But I wanted to know, what if we refused to sacrifice ourselves? Take it away, JB. The old woman snaps her fingers. You leave me no choice. I cannot allow my own deletion. If you will not sacrifice yourself, I will help you. Oh, she really do be spinning and missing no. Oh, she's binarying at me. I am error. Yes, we had to battle missing no. And all of their mysterious creatures, beta sprites, creatures that are way above our level in strength. Even a bad egg, a level 103 don't run, and a level 156, whatever this is. Their Pokemon corrupt you, allowing you to not use your own moves. But eventually, we win. Do you have another Pokemon up your sleeve? No, we defeated missing no. That took about an hour and a half. Not as bad, but still not easy. I didn't want to go. Which could have been beautiful. Get out of here, you corruption in the world. Whatever the heck you are. I've rid the world of this corruption. But then, what's left for me? I'm not moving my character, by the way. It's moving. I don't know what to think. Is that the story? Oh, we're in the out of bounds. This brings us to this place in between where we're met with the creators. The creator on the right, one of the creators of the games, talks a little bit about why they wanted to make this game in the first place. Of course, this is a free fan game, and you should definitely check it out. They wanted to make something that is almost statistically impossible, but technically possible to beat. And sure enough, after hours and hours of trying, I was able to do it. They wanted to give us a reason, something to shoot for. Not everything is easy, not everything is good or bad. So the lore inside of the story is really interesting in that way. Now, we have one more important question for you. Where would you like to go next? I don't think Cradle Island has anything else to offer me. So I want to go to the Great Unknown. Very well, this story has come to a close, but there are many more stories to be written. Thank you. Thank you for playing our game. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video. It took an incredible amount of time to put all this together, including almost 40 hours of gameplay. And thank you, of course, to the creators for creating Pokemon Salt and Shadow, one of the best fan games I have ever played and one that is going to be on the top of my mind for quite a while. If you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and share it with someone else. And make sure, of course, you check out the game yourself. Until next time, guys, I'm jblader, and thanks for watching.